I swear, if you tell me one more time to play quieter, I'm out. I'm just out. I'm done. Oh, sorry. Are we live? Oh, sorry about that. Sorry. Hi, everybody. It's really nice to see you. This is a day that's been a long time coming for us. It's been over 6 months now since we've been in the room together playing. We've been taking shelter in place really seriously in our group, both to keep ourselves safe, but also our loved ones around us. And we thank you for your patience, and we're just so delighted to be back in a room, at least virtually, with you today. We are actually getting ready to head into the recording studio next week to record Thorvaldsdottir's ENIGMA. And so that's what we're working on today. And we're hoping this can be an interactive session. So if you have questions along the way or comments or reactions, please pop those in the chat and we'll do our best to answer those. And I think about 3:40, we're going to actually set our instruments down and do some Q&A with you all. And then the big reveal today is that Anna is actually going to be joining us from London for a bit to tell us a little bit about the piece and to work with us as we go through. Yeah? What'd I miss?
Nothing. We're May have put together a list of spots that we need to hit between now and the recording session. So we're just going to be like working our way through that list. We'll try to say a few things about what we're doing as we go, but we're going to try to just be focused in the rehearsal and take your questions at those two spots. So where are we starting now?
I think let's start. We're in the first movement. This is sort of the second section of it. This is bar 36. We have these harmonics. We're going to try to just kind of work through for uniformity and clarity.
Okay. I got my heart rate all up, like fake being mad at you.
That was scary. I was like legitimately concerned for a second.
Of course he does something like that.
He could have warned me.
Now try to play harmonics.
No, I'm not the boat.
You owned yourself. You owned yourself real hard.
Did.
It's your solo moment.
I totally did. Oh boy. All right.
Stop there. I think it'd be really cool to get that. I know we were talking about we're working on consistency of tone, and there's like a few little interchanges that would be so cool to get like really right on, you know, like the one at 43 and 44. Like I want to sync up with your and of 2 and then your beat 3 and then that one where it's like E and in the next bar.
Yeah.
To really get those ones pinging around.
I also notice, at least for myself, that sometimes I'm like going to niente too fast, so there's not a bridge to the next thing.
Maybe from 40?
Sure.
Yeah.
too, like whenever we have the ones that are very squarely on the end of the beat, I feel like those are the rhythmically stabilizing ones, but sometimes we like show that they are by like pinging the front of the note with like a lot of speed. And I feel like they could still feel super rhythmically grounded, but like more of like a bell
Yeah.
sound instead of like a momentum kind of one.
A less feeling of syncopation.
Yeah, like it's helpful to feel it be stabilized, but it feels a little too much maybe.
Yeah, I feel like every once in a while I hear like the trying to be stable and like showing the time creep into the boarm.
And the held notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if like still feeling the pulse really carefully in quarter notes, but somehow like I don't know, letting what we're showing relax a little bit more, even if it's like not like we need to change everything, but like it could be in half notes in this section. I think it would be okay. Or
I don't know if this squares with what you're saying, but like in my brain, like I was trying to have like a pretty internally like a pretty significant quarter note and then sort of like a tiny eighth note just to sort of like keep some openness through it. Does that cut against what you're saying?
no, not at all. I just think when we're literally trying to show quarter notes, but also having to hold a
Yeah.
harmonic, that
Totally.
sometimes it makes the harmonic pop in and out.
Yeah. For
I
sure.
feel like, and it's like in this section, anyone that is holding, like there's enough like interplay that you can kind of, I think that person can kind of actually like just rely on the next entrances to show. Like I don't think we can conduct our own entrances a bit maybe.
Can we start back at 36?
Yeah.
Better?
Yeah. Yeah, it seemed like there was more awareness of like giving something to the next person.
Claire, can you and I do just that moment at 39 where you're on the E 3/4 flat and I'm on the E flat? To hear that.
Yeah.
You want to just do your bliss down and find it and then I'll. Lovely.
Do you think it needs to be wider to make it like clear that that's what's happening? Like that sounds right to me, but I just wonder about the.
I don't know. Wider as in higher?
No, so lower on the 3/4 flat.
I don't.
Oh no, it'd be quarter
that's-
flat. It would be E flat quarter flat.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I said the wrong thing.
Right. That's so. What I'm trying to play is like literally the lowest
Oh, okay.
place. I'm running out of room.
Can we hear it?
Yeah, let's try it again.
Can you just play it?
Thing. Oh.
I have the.
Sorry.
show you I have to find it too. Let me find yours. Can you play it? It's not registering. A little louder. Okay, let's try it again. Maybe from just for my sake anyway. We could start there because I'm gonna have a little later.
Hey, everybody, Alyssa here. We got some requests if you would speak a little louder when you're speaking.
Sure.
Thanks.
So starting from where?
Why don't we just start at 38 and that way we hear that.
Sure. We do it once more. Yeah, I was realizing actually because we were doing that work, I really like the distance between it now, but like also at 40, I was sort of getting swayed by your E flat quarter flat, and I was coming in too low, which didn't give you any room to rub against the E flat that I was playing. Cool.
Yeah, it's nice to hear those differences. We don't have to do this now, but just let's remember Doyle in 44 when we trade off the E flat. Sometimes, like, I don't know if I'm just coming in sluggishly, but like there's a bit of a gap. Like, let's just try to hand over that.
Yeah. Totally.
I feel like in this section too, again, I don't know that we need to do this, but just to say it for later, like when we have these chains of things, that specific gesture, like mine that starts in 39 and then Russ's in 40 and Maeve's yours in 42, that like, you know, often the end of it, someone else is like jumping in on, and I feel like that's a place where sometimes we let showing the meter like infiltrate the bow in those blisses.
Yeah.
I think it would be not so hard to just, you know, follow the bow change, come back in.
Cool.
What would you all think about doing some Kalenia stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Do we want to do it with metronome right away and just see where it's
Sure.
at?
So from 77. So the goal for this, beyond just being sort of exacting with the rhythm, is to not get so much pitch variation in the Kalenia, right? Like to not have keep it as steady as possible.
and also to actually get all of our nail fixes.
Good luck.
Life goals.
Dare to dream.
77.
That's actually something that we need in the spectral calendar is like reminding ourselves to grow out, well, at least me, to grow out my nail whenever we play this piece.
Yeah, sorry.
Pretty good.
It feels
Yeah, it is.
quieter than usual.
Yeah, that's
It's up all the way.
Maybe we're just playing louder than usual.
could be.
Back to the same.
Yeah, maybe take the edge off the dynamic just to hear it.
I'm sorry, I can't hear something.
The magnificence of my viola line that prevented you from hearing the beat.
That's always the case.
Probably.
It's always the
Actually,
case.
speaking of magnificence, when I first get that line, I
88 or
yeah.
yeah.
How how emotive do you all think that should be, or not? Like, should this be like so? It starts at 83, right? I get it the first time in pianissimo, and then the next time it's piano with some pont. Like, do you think it should stage up emotively as well, or emotionally as well?
I just definitely feel like it's like a turning out sort of moment. You know, like
Yeah, no.
no.
No? Okay. No, but seriously, like, I wonder, like, should
I
it
hear it
be
more
the
as like
ghost of it and then it comes into focus, or
Yeah, I feel like it's foreshadowing for like the first thing that's trying to break out of this very like rigorous texture.
what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, to me it's like ground bass or something. Like it doesn't feel like lyrical to me, like a lyric vertical line, it feels to me like expressive but simple. You know,
So we save it for 97 then, when it's the like, kind of,
as it starts to build and adds voices. And,
right. Okay, so I'll say that.
I feel like until there's like two voices holding at once, like that's when you know that it's been pulled in towards a new direction. Like, I think it's when that first harmony happens, like at 101, that the build really is apparent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It's kind of like you like start to see like the root structure or something, like,
Yeah.
but you don't know what it is yet or something.
The rhizome, if you will.
I don't forget what that means. If
And-
you know what a rhizome is. put
Yeah,
it
it's
in chat.
it's a
I'm
wrist
just
structure.
kidding.
One place I want to
Yeah.
get is our D flats together in 88. I want to try. I need to practice that slide and like really arriving on down the on the D flat.
And my approach right now is like, which is not.
That was one place where I felt us really pull apart, like ensemble-y as well. I'd love to
Maybe from 85.
do that.
I was actually wondering about that. Like, do you think there's anything to balancing the, like, I know she doesn't want this to be about the rhythm, but like, I don't know, there's something about like, especially the really small fives that makes me like not want it to sound like we're just messing up. And I wonder if that's about the square sort of like 30-second note thing being slightly up in the balance. I don't know if that would help or if that would just make it actually worse.
Maybe we could just listen for like passing it off once, so
Okay.
that we're kind of like always trying to listen to the layer of 30
Sure.
seconds.
Yeah. So starting from where? We don't need to go all the way back, right?
When we're on, maybe like
Did someone say 85?
I said that.
Sure.
I can't hear it once we're starting with the,
Yeah.
the sustain.
there's one, this is a really small thing, but Doyle in 95,
Mhm.
we have that one where I'm on the third beat and then you're on the second of the 5.
They're coming late.
No, I feel like we should make it more obvious that we're not supposed to be together. Like,
Oh, so
sometimes we
I'm
play together.
I'm actually like,
Or I'm late. I tried to get to, but just
Can I
maybe
just do
like
that once?
now. Yeah.
that one's like getting to the, I'm so frantic about
I know.
getting to the nail pits.
Wait,
that-
are you just talking? Are you talking about 93?
95.
5.
Oh yeah.
Let's just play that measure once.
3, 4. I sucked. Yeah.
Mhm.
seeing it coming sooner.
Yeah, totally.
It'd be really sweet to really land those 96 together with mine as well. Can I join you there?
Yeah.
Please.
95 again.
Yeah.
Mhm.
3, 4.
It's funny with your 7 right before it.
Yeah, it's
Sometimes
hard.
I can't tell if I'm like with you
Yep.
on the 8 or
Yep.
if I've come in too early.
Totally.
3, 4.
Feels like we're not landing on the downbeat together.
Right.
Should you follow Maeve maybe? Because Maeve has the actual 8s before it.
Yeah.
3, 4.
Try again.
3, 4.
Yeah.
It's really hard to tell if the 4th beat is going to line up with the click. It feels destabilizing before.
Mhm.
3.
That's closer. Yeah, it's tricky. For me to go from 7 to 8 on that one note. So
Yeah.
I think having a
trips me up.
really strong downbeat of the 4th beat could really be
Downbeat of the
helpful.
4th beat?
Yeah.
Down 4th beat.
Yeah.
One more time. Can we do it without the click?
3, 4. I think we actually landed pretty well together, but then we weren't at the same speed.
Yeah, I'm accenting it, the downbeat now.
Don't
Alright.
do that.
One more time.
3 and 4.
Cool.
That was good though.
Hey, everyone, excuse me, we have a question from Peter about the tapping and the pizzicato. How does that notated in the score?
It is like a just a regular note stem, like rhythms, with X's as note heads instead of regular note heads.
Yeah, and we're doing finger. Oh, sorry, man. Go ahead, please.
Oh, I was just gonna say that they're all the same pitch because it's supposed to be pitchless, so they look like it's all the same note over and over, but there's just an X instead of the pitched note head.
Yeah, and so the techniques that we're using are fingernail pits. So trying to like get the fingernail around the string to get kind of a dead sound. Yeah, and then the Calenio is the majority of what we're doing. And one thing is with the Calenio, if the bow moves, we actually get different pitches. So we're trying to keep it in one place so that it doesn't create its own contour.
Cool.
Should we move on to something else, or? What do you think?
Yeah, what if we just played from the end of this section to the end and then checked there was like some intonation in the very end?
Okay,
Yeah, sure.
sounds great.
So maybe from like 100?
Sure.
With or without click?
I think without.
Yeah.
It's hard to hear it. Yeah.
My favorite thing about these open rehearsals is that like people are like, oh yeah, they kind of move from thing to thing, because if we don't spend like 2 hours on like 3 measures of music.
100? Yep. 3 and 4 and.
this is a small thing, but one thing that I'd love for us to listen for next time is to get sense of Vib really right away on the downbeat. I think it could be like super cool moment if we really pull it off.
Yeah, I didn't do it. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'll just request 20 cents from you on Venmo later.
Yeah, I had marked
Pence.
to go to like a slower viv before that, but I wonder if it's like if it gets too slow, it's not apparent of a shift enough, like still enough shimmering.
My really long seagull didn't speak at all that time. It was just stupid bad gliss.
Seagull with laryngitis.
Yeah, sorry.
That should be our next campaign instead of Scrock.
Save the seagulls.
I don't know if our viewers know about our initiative Scrock, which is a fake initiative in which we raise money to create toupees for bald eagles. But I think lozenges for seagulls is the next fake initiative.
We need Sarah McLaughlin to write us the theme music.
I'm
For the
putting it in
campaign.
Slack.
Babe, you know what's great though? We don't need to come up with a new like moniker either. Like Scrap also works.
Works.
It
Yeah.
works for everything.
Yeah.
I'm putting it in the stupid ideas channel.
For a while, we had a website that was scrock.com that we would put in our printed
section.
programs at our concerts, and every once in a while, people would actually go to that website, and I hope they were really confused. I hope that was the main thing.
We put it in our program booklets too.
Yeah.
Okay, lozenges for laryngitic seagulls.
Do you remember how many W's were in Scrap though?
Six.
Six.
W's.
Okay, we have 3 minutes until Q&A. What should we do with 3 minutes?
Can we tune the last word one more time?
Yes.
Sure. Let's set it up once. Is that cool? Just from a few measures before we're all on that. So maybe like, how about from 114? Sorry.
Here, so let's work
Yeah.
downward from.
Lower?
Just a smidge. Start moving it around a little bit. Just move it around a little bit so we can hear. It's nice to have that wider half step.
Yeah.
You played a little bit lower on the
Yeah.
A flat just now.
Lower on the A flat.
Well, I think when you first came in, you adjusted it lower, and that sounded really good. After you adjusted it lower.
I try to find that A flat based on the amount of ouchie.
Ow, 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 ow.
I feel like when the A natural comes into at first, it should like really like announce itself into the chord.
Yeah, I think I need to redo my bowing here at the end because I'm like trying to save for bringing in the A flat, but I think maybe I just need to, maybe I'll just change on the A flat or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what sounds better. I mean, I played a lot of permutations of V, beat, but like, like it's actually very strange auditory experience to try to tune
It's gonna
that
have beats in it.
It's
gonna have like beats in it, like pretty
well, for
intense.
sure, but it's like choosing which ones, right? Because
Right,
it sounds different to me if I try to isolate your sound and tune it to your pitch versus Maeve's. Even though you guys are, I mean, you sound fine. It sounds the same, but like there's something about
Timbre.
yeah,
I think
timbre
we
and
should go to
octave.
Maeve in a way.
Yeah, like
'cause I
our
think
sound
we
is
want
gonna blend
yeah.
in a certain way.
We want the whole step, not the seventh.
yeah.
I think this last time you played with more density, which matched more the way that Russ was playing, and to me that made it easier to like hear where the B was locking in.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, like, I'm trying to play with core, but also because it's doubled, and I feel like these notes are important, like that it doesn't just like
Yeah,
totally
totally.
eclipse.
Well, but like when you were like, oh yeah, like I like that one, like it was
That was
like
low,
the
right?
seventh
Yeah, that was the
for
seventh.
sure.
That'll sound good when it's just you and me, but then once you add that, it won't sound good anymore.
Right. So actually, maybe Doyle, like, could you, the three of you,
Yeah.
play all the notes once and then
So
play? Just the A flat. Play just the A flat again.
it's tricky because of we're all basically in the exact same range, and then this is, you know,
This, I have a name.
this whole situation is a lot lower.
We're at our Q&A time.
yeah.
Should we take a little break?
Yeah, let's ask some
And see
questions.
if Alyssa wants to come on and
Hey,
hello.
Oh, hey.
hi everyone.
Hello, here she is.
How's it going? We have Anna Thorvaldsdottir with us. So I would like to bring her on now. Anna, will you join us?
Hey,
Hey, Donna.
Hey guys,
how are
can you
you?
hear me?
Yeah,
I'm good. How are you?
good. Good. All the way from London. You must be tired now. It's almost time for bed.
Yeah, it's it's almost bedtime.
Hey, I
Yeah.
wanna take this opportunity to ask you the most burning question in my mind, which is this new piece that you're putting out actually about cats? Catamorphosis?
Wait, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah,
It was
spot
really-
on. You got it.
Yeah.
Solved. You should see the score, man.
So, Alyssa, are there any questions that have come up that we should talk about?
Yeah, do you want to start with a few questions for Anna that we have?
Yeah, sure.
All right, this is from Inti. Anna, do you approach materials as having different temporalities? If so, how do you combine and or develop materials of different temporalities?
Oh wow, yeah. So actually, kind of when I'm thinking about music and dreaming on the material, it's always very textural to me and in a lot of different temporal atmospheres, and it comes very intuitively for me. So it's always kind of born out of the way that I hear the sounds in my mind when I'm writing the music. So that can be combination of kind of lyrical ethereal material and then drastically different temporal materials, and something I really enjoy is kind of combining the two, going from drama in different directions in a way. In sound.
That was
Right.
such a nerdy question, NT.
What?
Well, we like those, yeah.
Yeah. This question, I guess, kind of would be related, but from Peter. Anna, we hear drones. We hear ascending and descending whistle-like sounds from the violins. These remind us of space music, in quotes, by other composers. Are you referencing them, and what do they represent for you in this piece?
Right, yeah, space. Yeah, well, personally, I don't think about it in that way, but I always love to hear kind of what people pick up on and bring to the music as audience. It's amazing. I mean, I guess we're always all referencing each other in a way, because I mean, obviously, I'm not the first composer. There's a lot of music that has influenced me, but it's not in a direct way that I think about it. But so just similarly to what I was explaining a bit before is that I think about these textures and the kind of waves of sounds in a way that maybe he's referencing in the question as being space-like. But yeah, so I guess I don't really know what to say.
Well, I love what this music does in my own mind. I feel like when I'm listening to this music, I mean, it's hard to listen while playing at the same time and having like an aesthetic experience that's hopefully as integrated as it comes across to the outside listener. But I just love the music for the sense of space that it provides. Like, it provides a beautiful sense of space. Like, even just inside my own brain, like I feel like it washes away the cobwebs or the clutter a little bit, and it kind of clears things out for me. So it creates my own little inner space, I guess.
Yeah, it's like a piece like this, and actually, Anna, a lot of your music for me, it sort of depends on the mind frame that I'm in when I'm listening to it. And that's one of the, I think that's part of what you're getting at, that I really love about it too, is that it opens up that possibility for whatever is going on internally, as you're listening to it. So you can have a very, very different experience hearing it one day to the next.
Yeah, actually, I think that a part of that, where that comes from for me, is that I really kind of very much enjoy taking different perspectives in the kind of musical scape, and kind of zooming in and out of details in different ways and different directions. And also I'm kind of really obsessed with structure and the way that you move through the material through the entire piece, which obviously gives, like, when you get a look into a rehearsal, you don't really get the whole arc of the piece. You get a glimpse into different parts, kind of maybe repeated again and again, which is a different experience, probably.
All right, we have another question for Anna from Joey. If you don't mind sharing, what is your process like when you're writing sections with a high degree of rhythmic activity and interplay? Sorry, like in the Cole Lango section, the group was just focusing on.
Yeah. Okay. So for a part like this in the piece, it serves its own purpose for sure, obviously, in the piece, and I work a lot kind of intuitively. I make all these structures and structures for rhythmic patterns and all these different methods that you use as a composer, and then put them together and then listen through it in the mind's ear, and then intuitively work it out. And also interesting part to do with a section like this for me is to kind of try to replicate the collennial sound with the kind of fingernail pizzicati on the string, which is kind of, so you get the shadowing, different shadowings of similar sounds in a way. So yeah, I approach it very intuitively, but of course make structures and systems. But in the end, if the system or the structure isn't serving the way that I want it to sound, then I abandon it and work from the intuition mostly.
Good question. Other questions, Alyssa?
Yeah. So we've got one from Will Yeager. How, if at all, did the conception of this work as something that would have different versions, the full multimedia experience versus the standalone quartet, influence your process in writing this work?
Right. Yeah. So I mean, it's always very interesting to work with different elements to music and kind of the extra musical elements that kind of create a different atmosphere to a piece and make it into a very different experience. But for me as a composer, I always really focus on the music for the music. So in that sense, the quartet does stand on its own as musical piece. So that's how I approach it always. But then obviously have a very kind of nice collaboration with the overall atmospheric setting in the entire piece, which was amazing, and it has been a wonderful experience.
Hopefully we get to perform one day.
Yeah. Someday we'll be in a planetarium. Someday.
Should we ask Anna a musical question that we've been wondering about?
Sure. Alyssa, are there any others that we should address now, or we can always pick them up on the second one?
Yeah. Go ahead to your question.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, Anna, we always have lots of questions for composers, of course, as we're playing the music. But we were working the other day, and we weren't quite sure about the very, very end of the piece, the third movement, the last bit, just the way to approach the sound production and the vibrato, and we couldn't quite remember what you had said when we worked, a year ago or whenever that was. No, I guess it was, oh my gosh, it was a year ago.
That's
Right.
insane.
That's insane.
Yeah, so I mean, you mark, there's this sort of like beautiful ascending line that happens canonically between Maeve and my parts, and you mark them lyrically, which we discussed is something that's a way of saying expressive or outward facing. And I think part of the question right now is like just how emotive to be, and maybe like, helping define the arc because it does repeat. Like, is it something that gradually sort of builds in emotional intensity, or is it something that we should just play it for you and you can let us know? But those are the things that we've been thinking about with this line.
Well, and also I think one of the other questions we've had is, in the small interstitials in between the phrases that the viola and first violin have, there's these little harmonic motions that the lower three strings have, or I guess all four of us have, and how much to change the sound in between those, the duo melodies, whether we should, keep the core of the sound and the vibrato expressive, or we should like change the sound more to have more contrast, is a question too.
Which version did we play this time?
Why don't we just like play it musically in the moment, and then we'll see what she says.
I like it.
I need a script.
Let's do it live. So 267?
Sure.
This is the 42 tempo? Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Today it's like.
Yeah. Did you want me to come in? Yeah. I mean, so this is kind of what it all leads up to in the end. These lyrical moments, and it's for the viola. It says vibrato, lyrical vibrato, and for everyone else it says subtle vibrato. So and for the first violin to kind of it says pianissimo and the viola mezzo piano. So it's really the viola that carries the kind of heaviness of the lyrical line there, and the other ones shadowing. You did it gorgeously. I think that maybe the first violin could be a bit more like a shadow. So like maybe a little bit less vibrato, but you guys, you play, amazingly. So you guys just do it.
What was the last comment? I think I misunderstood it.
For me to be even more of a shadow.
You to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just because the kind of difference. I mean, I know I tend to write in sometimes like lower dynamics, but the mezzo piano in the viola is gorgeous. It's very rich and deep, and then maybe for the first violin to be a bit more shadowy, like very pianissimo, very much like ethereally shadowing the viola.
And I think we still have this question about after that line ascends, and then there's this sort of like, the cello, then the viola, then the second violin coming back in. Is that a continuation of the energy, or is that something that's a bit of a like, is it necessarily like something that's a big contrast? Is it we've tried to achieve something and then we have receded back to something, or is it that the sound and the energy sort of keeps spinning forward? That's not a totally articulate way to put it, but we're just wondering how much to change the sound in those moments, if at all.
Exactly. I mean, I totally get it. The way I, when I was writing it, the way I thought about it is that you come back full energy, like not really decaying so much throughout the different times you're playing it, but decaying through the lyrical line, and then you come back again full force, if that makes sense. That's the way I thought about it.
Do we come
but
back
then
the next E flat, or are you saying that the G flat, the chord that's built on my G flat, is that the chord that reasserts, or is that the chord that is back? Is the reassertion you're talking about, is that the E flat each time, or is that also the G flat chord?
Or is that just Doyle's part?
Sorry, are you asking me?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I'm just yes, sorry, I'm looking at the screen, which is not the camera.
Yeah, okay, so I thought you were asking Doyle's.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, so exactly. So it's when you come back, that's to me like almost I don't want to say well, yeah, I do want to say like a new beginning to the same line that we already heard, but you then bring the depth back, and then the viola starts does that make sense?
Yeah, I think maybe the question that we were talking about is more about like measure 2/6. I don't know if you have a score, but 2/6.
I do.
Oh, well, that's convenient.
I have it right here.
So 269 is sort of the end of that lyrical phrase. And
Yeah.
I think what we're trying to find out is, like, for instance, when Russ plays that G flat on the end of beat 2, I sort of join the texture, like, should his sound change from what he's been doing on the G flat? Should it do anything different, or should it just continue on until the next?
Continue on, yes. Continue on.
So we just need to set the dynamics in the way that sort of allow that to happen, right?
we'll have to try it out.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's a nice way to think about like, because, I mean, I go in and out, but my dynamics won't change either. Like maybe it's really like Russ and my part are kind of like the underpinning of the section, and like they can be perceived as changing and being different because of what the two of you are doing.
Sure. So it's more just I'm joining the orchestra on that entrance.
Mhm.
on that
Stop
rehearsal.
playing solo.
Sala.
Should we try once again?
Yeah.
Yeah. Made more sense. I like thinking about like just our relationship staying more stable throughout.
Yeah, me too.
What do you think, Anna?
Yeah, you guys sound amazing. That's what I think.
You come to all our rehearsals.
Yeah. Well, Anna, I know that it's late there and you have to go, but thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it so very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
It's
you.
nice to see you.
Yeah, it's so nice to
So
see
good to see you guys.
And we'll connect again before the recording session, okay?
Yeah, amazing. Okay,
Bye.
great to see you. Bye.
Bye.
All right, so we have like 15 or 20 more minutes before the next bit. So what's next on your hit
Second
list?
movement?
Nate?
We're gonna look at the beginning of the second movement.
Yeah.
Just this opening bit for rhythmic consistency.
Yeah.
This is a slightly faster.
Is this the tempo of tomorrow?
Yeah, this is not the tempo of today. The tempo of today is circa 42.
Okay.
You'll have to tune back in tomorrow now. So I was thinking we could just do it with click one or two times and then just do it without, just to kind of set that feeling. It always feels faster than 48 when
Yeah.
I'm doing it.
I feel like I hear,
Yeah.
Just 2 buzzes, I'm just ahead.
Yeah.
I feel like when we have the square caleños, like I hear us marking big beats. Da, 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 da. Do you know what I mean? That sort of thing. And I feel like that's going to actually take away from the meterless kind of feel.
Yeah.
I
Or
think
it just
sometimes
adds something to it that I don't think belongs there.
because it's such a complicated texture, that sound is so much more percussive than anything else that I think sometimes it also like we come in like really forceful. And I think it should be like insistent, but not like sometimes it feels so much outside of the texture because it's just a more like wooden sound.
Like more mechanical.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a different piece.
Composing.
I've played that piece
Yeah.
a couple times.
You try without the click? Anything you want to say before we try without the click?
I feel so unsatisfied with the way that I'm playing these noodly things.
Me too.
Like I just feel like I'm. Here's a thing.
We feel unsatisfied with you too.
Quote of the day.
That was retribution for the way you started this rehearsal.
I learned it from watching you, Dad. I don't know. I feel like it's just so neutral. You know, like it's not doing anything right now.
Can it be a little bit more squid watery? I feel like it's not.
Less like no.
Yeah, I feel like it's like all right, so we keep talking about this octopus documentary that is on Netflix, right? It's a Netflix doc. Okay. I haven't watched it yet, but Maeve and Doyle keep talking about it, so I'm gonna watch it soon. And
And now I'm gonna monologue about a
Why
movie
don't you
that I've
guys
never
care about
seen.
cephalopods? That's not
I always care. I just haven't haven't gotten around to it. Anyway, I feel like we could really just like embody the spirit of the octopus.
Yeah, what if it's more just like 17 notes in 2 beats?
I think that's the
Like
thing.
just
Yeah.
play 17 notes in that amount of time and don't, I think it's just hard because it's like written in rubato, the 9 plus the 8.
I mean, it's funny. Like she said that like any piece of her I've ever played, she always says that the tuplets are not meant to be like dividing the beat in a exacting way. It's a like for her, it's like a way to try to get you not to just play some sort of like logical subdivision.
Well, I hear us doing like a little bit of like something about the contour of the line makes it want to sound like that. So like we need to try harder to make the rubato like less predictable each time.
All right.
What it's
Squid
about
water.
like having like a constant stream all the way through, right?
Yeah.
So basically, your choices for what we're gonna think about next are play 17 notes in the span of 2 beats,
Like
or
an octopus would.
be the best octopus you can be. Right?
Sure.
Option B.
From the top of the movement? Is there other things?
No.
Oh, okay.
Everything else looks perfect.
played like 16 and 2/3 notes.
Really?
Actually, if you would indulge us in the chat, write down if you think the octopus approach is the right approach to that line. I'm actually being serious. I would love to know what you think.
Could we just do bars 137 to 1 through 140 ones? Just those 4 bars. I just need to practice playing your thing. 3, 4.
Maybe one more section before we wrap it up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could do, I mean, we always can tune that run. We've heard it a bunch of times now. There's also the part where you'll have to land on that C natural that is
Yes.
good for
It's always good to try.
intonation.
Yeah, let's do that. Where is that again?
It's in the second movement, is that right?
Yeah. 182.
Or not, yeah, near the end of the second movement.
Yeah, I think Clara has the first instance of it in 182.
Can we go back? I always like to, I want to practice these C chord flats. maybe, I don't know, just 177 or something like that.
Sure.
Or is this the right? Yeah, okay, sorry.
42.
Yep.
I feel that we might speed up just a tiny bit. Or maybe it's not speeding up, but like 192, I kind of wish that those eighth note changes were a little bit more spaced out or deliberate or something.
Yeah.
I feel like a little bit like on top of each other.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just like a vibe kind of thing. Can we try that one more time? Maybe we don't have to go so far back, just 181.
Can we go back or like 2 bars or something?
Yeah,
It's helpful for me to like
So 179.
try to cleanse my palate and then have to do it again.
Yeah. 179. Yeah.
3, 4.
Oh, so yeah, sorry.
That's good.
I think I think it was pretty good,
Yeah.
actually. Like, I think it was like maybe just a tiny
Yeah.
little bit
Half of,
out, but there's a way in which like, just like bow, like let's make sure the bow speed is really matching too, because that's gonna make it not sound great. Also.
One more time.
Yeah.
179 again.
3, 4.
right on the downbeat of 183.
Am I playing not enough there? I'm like trying to
I don't know.
blend into your sound.
Can we
It
try
just feels
once?
like not quite like glued together.
From where I come in there at 182,
Yeah.
can I really be in charge of the time?
Yeah.
Until Russ comes in.
Oh, this maybe should be the last thing that we
Yeah.
do here.
You want to start right there, 182? Or you
Just
want to try again?
maybe like the measure before.
Measure before?
3, 4.
Sweet.
I splat that time.
Right.
Congrats.
Thank you.
All right. It's 4:24, so as usual, we're running late.
Hey, so let's take questions, but before we do, can we just say that you know that we've been very active online during all this quarantine business, but this just feels really special to be playing in the room together and for all of you. So thanks for being here
Yeah,
and
totally.
making it feel special for us too.
Hi.
Oh, you guys sound so, it's so nice to hear you playing again. I miss it. All right, so firstly, I want to say that the people are digging the octopus method, so we're good on that. All right, so I have a couple questions that are more like general rehearsing questions. So we have a question about using a digital metronome versus the one that you have on the table, and what influences that.
This was a piece of decoration that was decided on at the last moment. This
Okay,
mechanical metronome.
got it. All right, that was it.
What else can we say about the metronome?
It works.
We sometimes pump it through a stereo system so that it's super loud. Not for this piece, but for other things that we do. Tempo of the day, everybody. Tempo of the
All right. So next question we got from Peter about how's rehearsing the rehearsal process different for a recording session versus a live performance?
Totally.
Stressful in a different type of way. I mean, I think there are things that make it harder and things that make it easier. Like in one sense, I think recording is really stressful because you're trying to strive for a type of perfection because it's a studio recording and because you have the ability to sort of be really detailed. So I find it can be nerve-wracking in that way of feeling like you kind of have to get the best version of everything. But also because it's not a live performance, you don't have to do it all in one go and one take, and you can sort of be strategic about what order you record in, what things you record first. And I think with a piece like this too, there's a lot of sections that are really clearly delineated. So if we want to focus in on one at a time and just really get it, we can know that we have it and move on. Yeah, so it's just I think the hardest thing is to in the session, especially for us maybe, to keep the performance energy there, even though we're doing take after take, and to not get to be holding ourselves to a high standard, but not getting so perfectionist that we just we'll just keep doing a take over and over until it's not helping us anymore. So yeah.
Anything to add about that? I think you summed it up nicely.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like because we know we can do things a few times, 3, 4, 5, 12 times in the session, to me this rehearsal is about shoring up our concepts of things so that we can go in and execute it a few times, and we know we're going to get it once, right? All we
Yeah,
have to
it's
do is get it right
consistency.
once, right? So
Right.
it's about building consistency and building like a knowledge of what is going to go where and putting the pieces together in a way.
Yeah.
And
I think it takes a different type of consistency too, because if you're recording a solo piece, you want to show up prepared, but you only have to get it right literally once. But, I can show up and, Clara gets perfect take, but like I messed it up in that same take. So we have to have enough consistency that, we can all at some point like have a take that feels good for all four of us.
Yeah, when we realize that we are getting too like in the weeds or like getting too obsessed with something, we do something that I will translate as the screw it take, which is sort of a way for us to shake it out and be just like, you know what, it doesn't matter what happens right now, we're just going to go for pure musicality and energy. And sometimes, maybe even oftentimes, that's a big help actually, to just like kind of declutter the brain a bit.
Yeah.
what else do you have, Melissa?
All right. So Allison wonders if you read off full scores during rehearsal.
For this piece, for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of music we do. I think it kind of is personal choice, depending on the piece, depending on the score.
I think we have been increasingly since we started using iPads too, because page turning, we're using Bluetooth pedals to turn the pages, and it makes it so much easier to have like a longer score. So I feel like I've been using full score more.
Yeah.
Because I'm not worried about like having 60 pages on my stand.
That's true. Although we have not gone all the way with like historical music.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I mean, a lot of quartets do this, but for whatever reason, we don't tend to play like a Beethoven quartet from the score from our iPads. Maybe we will someday. It's hard to tear myself away from like the paper. So like, I have so many nice memories of like.
Almost missed page turns.
I have so many memories of Clara's almost missed page turns. That one in the Brahms fourth movement is like. Honestly, it's weird to hear the recording and not hear a page turn. Like it's such like a punctuating thing for me in that moment, because you usually nail it too, but it's like.
Yeah, but it's like you only have to like miss something like that like once for it to be a real disaster.
Totally. Like when I played Bartok and my entire part came off this again.
Go ahead. All right. What else do you have, Melissa?
All right. We have a couple more. These are more specific to this piece. Mark Tumpkin asks, this is originally for Anna, but I think you guys can speak on it. How do you notate the dynamics or sound levels in the piece, traditional or alternative?
There's a lot of answers to that, I think. I think composers have sort of like varying viewpoints about how many dynamics you should choose. There's sort of like a psychological element for a performer. I think in part because for so long, music didn't really go above fortissimo. And then you start seeing, 3 fortes and 4 and more. And
Ligeti gives you 7.
Pardon?
Ligeti gives you 7.
Yeah, right. Now composers give you 7. And there is sort of like a threshold at which that becomes just like an effort dynamic versus like a volume.
Right.
But I guess maybe a more concise way of saying this is however many dynamics there are in the score, you should, I think as a performer, your job is to try to scale that to each other.
Well, that picks up well with this piece, because like throughout this piece, the dynamics go mostly between pianissimo and mezzo piano throughout the entire piece. So there's maybe a couple of mezzo fortes in the piece, maybe 1 or 2 fortes. And so that was a struggle for us at first, is to interpret that, because when Anna came to work with us, like she asked for more sound and more rich sonorities and more sound, more vibrato, and like we're seeing mezzo piano on the page, and we realized that that mezzo piano is about as much about the character as about the actual like volume level. And so it's about creating it's about creating a feel that exists within her world of mezzo piano, but also giving a lot of sound on stage. And so somebody else like might have written a forte to get the same sound that she writes for mezzo piano.
Mhm.
Yeah. Something else, Alyssa?
Yeah, great. So another question we've got from Peter is any unique or first-time challenges for this piece and that you've experienced?
Unique challenges?
Unique or first-time challenges? Sorry, I phrased it.
I don't think I've ever played Colegno for this many bars in a row. Like sustaining that technique, I've never really practiced. Like I haven't practiced Colegno in that kind of way before in my life.
Yeah, I don't know, for me, the hardest thing is the way that she moves in and out of sort of niente or sort of nothing dynamic, so going to silence and coming back out. That's really tricky to make that something, if you're a instrumentalist of any kind, like if you actually try to play one bow where it's like a crescendo on the first half of the bow and a decrescendo on the second half of the bow, and you really try to make it linear, if you're really listening, it's almost feels impossible to really do that, to execute that really well. And it's so important in this piece to have these sort of things that come in and out of focus, but to never drop the sound and to never like peak the sound, but to have it feel very smooth in that way. And that's, I think, for me anyway, that's one of the hardest things to do as a string player.
Yeah, I mean, the piece is like so rich, right? Like all of the sustained chords that we have feel like you have to have this sort of like bottomless like depth of sound, even when the sound is quite quiet. There's a way, like I like to think about this piece like kind of orchestrally, as if there's more people playing with us than just us. It helps me like try to find that kind of depth of sound. But to me, that's the challenge, is like trying to keep that at every moment.
Totally. Wouldn't it be nice to have a stand partner to blame for stuff?
Totally. Good job, Jerry. I don't know why Jerry.
Take one more question.
Yeah,
Well,
one more. If you have any more.
Actually, I wanted to follow up. Maeve, could you speak a little bit about the Colegno that you're, the difference that you're talking about? Because we had a question earlier about that, and I'm not familiar with that technique, so I would love to hear more about it.
Yeah, the Colegno we're talking about is the sections where we're all tapping and we're tapping on the surface of the string with the wood of the bow. And that's like, it's something that it's been in like tons of music over time, but that texture, which is like so rhythmic and so insistent, I think what the hardest thing about that section for me is that to get a really controlled, consistent tapping sound, I have to really like rotate the string away from the instrument enough to get like the hair away from the instrument of the bow to get the wood of the bow on the string. And there's moments where you have to stop the technique just for a moment to do a pizzicato or to play a harmonic. And so I think the control of getting in and out of that like pronation or supination, I don't know which one it is, but that kind of choreography is what's tricky for me in that section.
It's just a hard technique to control, like precisely, super precisely.
Yeah, like if you were playing that rhythm with like drumsticks, it would be very simple. It's not rhythmically that crazy, but just it's not. I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to control.
Great. Yeah, I think that's it.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you especially to those of you who gave us a donation to be here today. That really does help a lot. We're like so many musicians. We are experiencing apocalyptic budgets and a long road ahead. So we do appreciate all your support, and we will try to do this again in the near future. I think it's a good thing for us to try to do too. I think so. We'll try to do more of these, and we have some great music coming up next month.
Yeah,
that
for
we'll,
sure.
we'll try to put on camera and invite you in again.
We also have a whole slew of other digital events that we're going to be announcing kind of our fall lineup very soon. So keep your eyes and ears peeled because you won't want to miss out.
Also, thanks, Alyssa.
Yeah,
Thanks,
you.
Alyssa.
Thank you, Alyssa.
And thank you, Anna, of course, for joining us. And bye-bye, everybody.
Nice to be with you.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for coming.
Nice work, team.